Okay. Questions on anything we've done? That would be if anything that I typed you would not be able to reproduce because you don't exactly understand what some part of it does. Or what should we do next? Anybody? What should we do? What should we make it do next? Suppose you wanted to make it like a normal calculator, whatever the calculator that comes with, how does this? Is it up here? Yes. Suppose we wanted it to look like this. What would the layout be? These are all buttons, right? Okay. And then this would be like a div or text box. Or something. I guess you don't actually type in here with this one, do you? I don't know. You can type, but it's sort of going on down here. Let's say we just want to click on the buttons. Or you could have text boxes there as well. All right, but so then we have multiple buttons that are all doing different things, right? So how do we do that? I don't remember. Let's look it up. Let's try this then, what they're saying to do. Let's call this September 15th B, so we can leave that one the way it is, if you like that. Okay, so now instead of having this extra submit button, they're suggesting we do each one is going to be a submit. So instead of type being radio, we'll have type equals submit, and then we have value equals just like that. Let's see. Oops. So those are all submit buttons. They have names and values. They all can't have the same name. Up, plus, up minus, up times, up divide. So then this would go away. All right, let's just see what that looks like.
All right, that looks good, right? But now we need to make it actually work. So we're going to make it the same page. Now X and Y will be the same, and this one, let's see what they do. Right, how do we know what the op is? Let's try this. Get equals array. Thanks a lot for that. Let's see. Print R, that's what I want. Okay, so now that I figured that out, a few things that weren't mentioned before. So if you have multiple strings in C, how do you create one string that has first name and last name put together? Concat is a function that'll do that. You need to make sure that wherever you're putting it has enough memory to store all the stuff. In PHP, if you want to print out multiple strings in a row, so echo or print is the function, and something in between double quotes is a constant, just like in C. And then if you want to combine something else onto that, you just dot. Dot is the concatenate thing, so I can do that. And then if you have a variable, so $_get is a variable, and what type is it? Is it a string? No. It's an array. It says there it's an array. Okay, so get's an array. And what are the types of the indices? What's the index into get? Well, I'm using it where? Here. We did this stuff. $_get is an array, and then the index is inside of here. What's the type of that? String? right? And so what type is an index in C? In C, you have an array. It's an int. It goes 0, 1, 2, 3, or whatever. You think of it as just like a bunch of different, like columns in Excel or something like that, or rows in Excel. So in PHP, you can let the index be anything. It can be, well, not anything, but so it can be strings. It can also be ints. It can be some other things maybe too. All right. So there's an array. I didn't remember how this is going to show up in the get array. Is there going to be a variable called opt plus, or is there going to be a variable called submit? And so rather than look that up, I just print the entire get array, and we see that there's a variable called whatever they clicked on. Okay, so if I want to test which thing to do, I have to check whether that variable is set. So that was printing the whole thing, and the function to do that is print_r. That'll print out the variable into a string. Useful for debugging. All right, so I want to test whether is set op plus and the rest of them. What was I doing below? I'll just use this op. In the same order, minus times divide. Now the rest of the code should work because it was assuming the rest of the code was assuming that it was in this op variable down here where I compute things. So that should work now, or not. Is set. Right. I want to look at this. Brackets for doing into an array, parentheses for calling a function. Get is not a function. Semicolons. Okay, let's try it up here. That's pretty exciting stuff, right? All right, so I'll say more PHP practice, take my calculator, and make it better, or something. All right, so your basic thing with these forms is the layout is easy. That's just HTML, and you put the right kind of input tags. In the input tags, you can style them with CSS just like anything else to get it the way you want it to look. And then you have to think about what's actually going to be happening. All right, so the most common thing that you're going to be using forms for is taking information and putting it into a database. And we're not going to do that yet. So for now, you can think of other things we can do with forms that don't require a database. You take information and then you do something with it and display an HTML file based on the information that you got. So a calculator or an email. You could make an email form. I believe that stuff is set up on the server that you could do that. You could search for, so if you want to know this stuff, the way that you know it the best is on figuring it out yourself. So PHP practice would be look up how to send an email from PHP and make a contact me form on your index.php page or something. So then basically what's it going to be? There's going to be some PHP function to send an email, and it'll specify who it's from, who it's going to. It'll go to you, and they'll have to say who it's from in there. Maybe we'll do that in class. Maybe not. All right, so the plan. What we will do, your plan for next time. So homework 4 graded, make your index.php something, practice with PHP somehow. So that means, interesting. So that means take one of examples from class, lecture slides, the web, and put it on the server. Make sure it works. Make changes. That's what you do. If nothing else, you can take the calculator from today and make it, put more stuff in there. Make it different somehow, easier to use. And keep looking through PHP slides. Read ahead. And think about what stuff you want to be able to do. Interesting examples, projects. Somebody mentioned that they were working on potentially a chat program. We could do that in the browser. What else? I thought I put another one. So another one to try would be a simple PHP example would be on your index page. Put a button that says fortune, and then when they click the fortune, just put some random text underneath it. So to begin with, you could do the same thing we did here. At the bottom of your index page, it says like, this is me, I'm at ISU and stuff. At the bottom you have fortune, when there's nothing that shows underneath it, but when they click, it shows below something, like whatever, something you want to say. So you just make it appear when they click it. And then after that, you could have multiple messages that you want to show and cycle through them based on something. We could do that in class, but it's better if you figure it out on your own. Okay, so that's it. The end. There's a homework due next time. If you want me to look at yours, you can ask me to, and maybe I will.